We are live. It is the day after 4th of July. Happy 4th of July, everybody that didn't get it. Ooh, look at that. We're looking at the stream on the stream. That's awesome. HeartlandDefenders.com is what you should have been looking at. Heartland Defenders on YouTube. Heartland Defenders here on Facebook. Please go like, share, subscribe, share with your friends, share with your family, even if you don't like them. At least it'll start some kind of conversation. Let's get Mike and Jacob in here. Hey, guys.
What's up?
Oh, goodness.
I'm trying to figure my stuff out.
Oh,
there I am.
Here we go. Let me get you to where I can see both you guys decently. There we go.
Different view. Look at that. Different view.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah,
that's why I had to adjust.
Yeah, I'm like...
It's not red Friday, but Oscar, you're in red. I'm in red. What the fuck?
Nah. No, I went with my patriotic shirt today.
Yeah, I'm just finally okay, finally I found it.
What, found the show?
Yeah, it was giving me grief for some reason.
I bookmark our page. That way I just go right there. And it's
Yeah,
like, hey,
well,
you're
I was
live.
there, and it was just looking at me stupid. I don't know.
Oh.
Whatever, I'm here.
Right? Anyway, where is
behind
everything?
the bar.
Here we are.
Gentlemen.
So let's see. Hey, Brian, how you doing? Hi, Heather. I know you haven't said hi to us yet, but you said you're there. I see you. It's like I just saw you a little bit ago, Heather.
Well, all right then.
Yeah, no, we went to lunch/dinner with the Michaels.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, at some place down in Canton. So it was a good place. Burgers were amazing. If they had cooked them a little bit the way they were supposed to be cooked, they would have been absolutely amazing. But
Nice.
So, but no, okay. So I don't even know where to start this week.
Dude, there was a lot of stuff. There was a lot of stuff and like a lot of nothing.
Right. There was a lot of like, hey, there's the stuff that's gonna happen, and then it didn't happen. Wait, is my camera not showing to you guys? No, it's not, is it?
Nope, it's not.
There you go. There you go. Now you can see me.
Yeah, and there was stuff that happened that I had no clue was happening.
Well, like that march on what was that Mount? What is that thing? What was it?
Stone
called?
Mountain.
Stone Mountain.
Stone
That was
Mountain.
interesting to say the least. And,
Oh, have I had some interesting conversation? I actually think I got kicked off of 2 Patriot groups.
okay, so for the
Yeah.
people that don't know what happened, a group of people. Hold on here, because I'm not gonna screw this up. Oh no, that's about student loan forgiveness. Hang on.
It's the NFAC.
Yeah, not something about not giving up or something. I don't
Not
know.
fucking around coalition.
Yes, there you go. That's what it was.
It's kind of a cool name. I got to give them.
Hey, the best part about it is it wasn't something that they were like, hey, we're Black Lives Matter, but we really don't care about Black Lives Matter. They actually picked out a name for themselves to go do this thing. And I thought it was pretty cool.
Well, see, and that's the funny thing that I had an argument with somebody about in a couple of different pages and stuff.
You had an argument? Wait,
Yeah, it's hard to believe. Well, it got to the point where I just asked a couple of them if they'd like to meet and discuss it in person, but I'll move on.
Did you get asked, or did you get told that you would kill people just by meeting in person?
No,
You're just not at that level.
I was just told that I just don't understand the Constitution whatsoever. Okay.
Wait, how?
Alrighty
Okay,
then.
so whoa, you left a whole middle part out there.
Well, so
How did that conversation go?
Yeah. So apparently, they were. So what was it? So they were this particular group, one of many. This particular group was mad because like when the 20,000 people that went to Virginia,
Right.
that was the Second Amendment events.
I was there. Can you say it?
Yes.
I was there.
The large amount of black people with guns walking down the street, well, that was terrorism.
But that wasn't terrorism. It was their Second Amendment right to
Well,
walk down the street.
no, because they were preaching terrorism. Didn't you listen, Jeremy?
I did. I
Now
didn't
wait.
watch. Okay,
Wait,
let me be
Okay,
truly
wait,
honest
wait, wait,
about
wait,
this.
wait, wait. Which one are we talking about? The mountain thing with the NFCS or whatever?
Yeah. It was all about that.
The
Yeah.
NFAC.
That's the whole conversation. Because
Maybe I
was
should
it
call it
earlier?
that.
Was it later last week or early last week that there was a black Second Amendment march where they just Second Amendment. It wasn't. They weren't. I don't know if you've seen it, but I watched the video.
Well, in Virginia,
of that thing.
no, in Virginia, it was yesterday or Friday. They did. Oh, yeah, it was the 4th. Then in Virginia, they marched. It was the militias and the BLM.
Huh.
The NF whatever the fuck
That was their own little thing.
NFAC,
Well,
yeah.
Just call them what they are. It's the Black Panthers.
Yeah, it's the strong arm of the black. Well, it's the highly trained, militarized 22 caliber AR with a, round jammed.
I'm gonna be super honest. I didn't know the thing even happened until you brought it up today.
Yeah. Well, hey, Jacob, we can't give him too much grief about the guy with the round when we had a guy at the giant rally in Virginia using his AR as a cane.
Right. What was also the one with the guy that was leaning on his AR, like it was up his butt, and like he was leaning back on it to use it to support him as he leaned back? Yeah, I've seen that picture too.
Yeah. we can't because we would all follow. I'll guarantee everybody listening that's in a group or may listen later. They've got that guy in their group.
There's that guy.
So
I watched a little bit of the videos. I'd like 2. I'm gonna say it. I saw 2 videos. So what the people you're arguing with, what were they saying they were talking about that made it terrorism?
Well, okay,
and not
so the
Second
major
Amendment?
the major difference was that they were talking about terroristic stuff, whereas, the Second Amendment people weren't. And I'm like, oh, so when they brought, nooses to the State House,
guillotines?
Well, no, they remember, they also had I don't know if it was necessarily here, but I thought there was one here too. They had it might have been when the Open Up Ohio thing, but they were, hang the lab coat and DeWine.
Oh yeah, they did do
but
that.
Again, those were all Second Amendment and free speech. The all black guys with the black scary guns was terrorism.
No.
I mean, it was really, I swear to God,
I can't believe you were having this argument.
I'm not defending either side of this because, we can get into that in later episodes, but
my camera's all fucked up, so you'll just
have you seen the videos of the quote unquote leader of that NF?
He's a little high strung. I think he should switch to decaf, but go on.
Well, one video is him talking about the after effect where they went right, the big headline, went right where the KKK formed. They were standing in the streets. They were there.
Oh, right.
And he talked very elegant that, we showed up and we did this and we did that. And that was good. And they kind of spun it good. But then, like a couple of stripes down Facebook lane, you get to another video where he's on his knee in front of a formation of these people in black garb with big, scary black rifles, touting to bring out all your boogie guys, your rednecks, your white supremacists, you honky rednecks. We're here and we're ready to kill you.
Agreed. However, is that any more hate speech than when people said, because of the overreach of DeWine that he should be hung?
And I'm going to add to that. And not that I side with Antifa, but is that any more hate speech than the group saying the same thing to Antifa or towards Antifa at Second Amendment rallies?
Agreed. Yeah, I mean it's and no, and here's my so you know where my argument was with these people. I clearly stated about halfway through this argument.
Know what arguing on the internet gets you, right?
Yeah. Well. It started out as a discussion, and then it went awry about halfway through.
Of course it does, because you can't have a discussion without somebody getting butthurt and angry.
Well, not only that. Well, there were several people actually having a real conversation. I mean, we were going back and forth and having an actual real debate and making points with each other, but there were a couple that, who was obviously one of the admins because she got all pissy with me. But I said clearly through halfway through the argument, listen, I'm not saying what they're saying is right and that I agree with them. What I'm saying is they have the right to do it, especially if it's a peaceful rally. Just because they're saying hateful things and they have guns, that doesn't make it illegal. If they act upon said actions, this is different.
Correct.
And
so basically what you're saying is, in a nutshell, if a KKK member or KKK group or those boogie guys or the quote-unquote rednecks would have shown up there and a street firefight would have broke out, then it would have been terrorism.
No, I don't think that'd be terrorism. I mean, if then you go back to the letter of the law. We all took the tests. Right. Did you incite said violence, or were you defending yourself?
And again, is it terrorism, or was it just a street fight?
Right. At that point, I think it's a street fight. I mean, and then
terrorism's basically an act to try to instill fear based off of.
Was this NFS? Yeah, you know what I mean. Were these the same people that? Was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? Were like walking down the street and yelling into cars and threatening.
Oh, no. Hey. Time out, Mr. Clickbait. If you watch the actual video, the gentleman in the minivan stops in the middle of the street and engages in them in conversation.
Correct.
Conversation or argument?
Conversation.
I think he was being a little snarky.
So confrontation, not conversation.
Yeah, I think he wanted to. I think he was. I think he was a little redneck curious. I don't think.
What the fuck is redneck curious?
Well, I don't think he was being racist in his motives. I think he was kind of like, what you boys up to? Walking through town with guns kind of attitude.
At least he wasn't the asshole passerby.
So he was a kid.
Yeah, he was just driving by and stopped in the middle of the road just to speak to them.
At least he wasn't the a-hole that drove by and went, oh God, people with guns walking down the street, gotta call the cops.
No, he stopped. I mean, he stopped and engaged in conversation. Now, again, he was a little snarky. The gentlemen in the march were just as snarky. However, perfect example. So they hadn't, gentleman may or may not be armed. You couldn't tell he was in his minivan. Never got out of his minivan. Never got out of his minivan. Never made a motion like he was jumping out of his car to start shit. And the gentlemen all talking to him all had weapons and no shots were fired. So I would say, all in all, that's pretty close to the definition of a peaceful demonstration.
Confrontation.
I don't even know if it was a conversation. I mean, it was more of a spirited debate. Let's call it that.
Okay.
So, the video I saw of the van or a vehicle, it may not have been the same video. I didn't see any debate happen, but what I did see, which was kind of refreshing, is not everybody was there that was marching trying to be confrontational. A couple guys walked by, were like, Black Power, blah blah blah, and then one guy walked by and was like Black Love, and I'm like, well, shit, that they're here for a minute. I was the way things were going. I was like, are these guys just doing this to be?
Does that not harken back to the whole two? Change one word and that changes the entire meeting.
Well, to a degree, what they, and I think so. I think the one guy who spoke the most and was kind of he kind of did the old puffed up, are we gonna go kind of look, but he said some things I think on purpose. If you go back and watch the video, he goes, I'm your worst nightmare, meaning a black man with a gun, and the guy just looks at him like, not really. So I mean, right. It was great, and here's an underlying thing that I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen anybody talk about it, and it was talked about so much before this. So many times. How many times have you heard? Some from BLM for sure, but even just from some minority groups. If we march down the street with guns like that, we'd all be arrested or shot.
I've heard a lot of them. We'd be shot or killed. I was gonna say, I was sitting here thinking I was gonna bring that up too. I was like, man, you know how many times somebody has said to me, if a large group of black people walked down the street with guns, they'd be mowed down. I'm like, so they just proved that to be wrong yesterday or whatever day yesterday.
And it's so funny because the same media that jammed that down, especially when Virginia happened and other rallies we've been to where there's been a lot of mostly white people with guns. It's a fair statement, let's be honest. But all the people who said if black guys did the same thing, they'd all get shot, kind of killed that narrative.
Right.
Because there were quite a few people with guns.
You cannot trust anything on television.
And Mary, thank you for the like on the video.
Or anywhere.
I like your thinking, John.
Clowns with chainsaws is nothing. I used to be one in a haunted house. It was fun.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the thing that everybody, there were so many narratives broke by that happening, and there are so many narratives by, literally BLM marched with regular everyday militias on July 4th. Which, oddly enough, did you see a lot of press about that?
No, I didn't even know until
exactly.
And I'm pretty on top of I'm at least not the past 48 hours. I'm on top of it.
But here's the problem, Jeremy. It wasn't everywhere. It really, it is so. Palmer and I were having this discussion. There is so much division going on right now that it almost reads like a bad after school special. The pieces and parts and so now you have patriot groups, people who are like, well, that's just constitutional, and you got the other half of the book boys going, no, it's that's not what the Constitution says. It's for this reason, not that reason. And now you've got a black group of gentlemen and women marching down the street going, we're not that BLM shit.
Right.
So now you've got another division of the division of the division of the division.
Well,
and is that exactly what they're looking for again to do whatever they're wanting to try to do?
I was talking to a coworker.
Really weird, ain't it?
I was talking to a coworker today and trying to explain, why he should maybe start looking at this stuff going on, because he really doesn't do it. He doesn't look at it. God, I asked him if he's ever seen Red Dawn. You know, that movie, Red Dawn?
Which
And
one?
he goes, what are you talking about, Red Dawn? That's not, you can't name a movie the guy's actually watched, because he's only watched 3 in his entire life.
No.
I swear to God.
That's a smart man, probably.
I sat there and I tried to explain to him, I'm like, look, there's a scale. You got far left. Well, I don't know which way I am, but you got far left and far right. And I would say there's 10% and 10%. The rest of this shit is 80% of everybody else in this country. You've got close to the far right, you've got close to the far left, but the people that sit right in the middle, they don't give a fuck either way. They just live in their life. That's all they care about. When this shit, whenever this shit pops off, whether it's MFSC versus the Boogies, that's going to be classified as far right, far left, intermediate, whatever. But you've got 80% of this country that's not really going to be there. Like for Cosper probably sits in the, on that scale, he probably sits in the 40 to the right, 40 to 50% range on the right side.
I say used to be, but no, I'm gonna be honest with you right now. Right now, I'm pretty much on the fence in the middle, because quite frankly, I think they're all fucked up.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The 80% in the middle, the more they divide the Patriots or the BLM, or, I mean, the more they divide it, you see more people moving to the center, realizing that all of this crap is insane. It's all this shit's made up.
Sadly, the center is turning more and more into groups and factions of different beliefs as well, which is kind of annoying, because you have some that move more towards the right, some that move more towards the left. They're still center, and they still give the dead center crap about being dead center, about being the quote fence sitters.
Right.
You're waiting to pick the right side or the left side based off of whoever's ahead.
And I think I think John's right. They're not only are they, I think they're, I think they're batting, somehow they're batting above 1,000, because we just can't, no matter, you just can't, it's so hard anymore that every time you put 2 pieces together, it's like a 10-piece puzzle. We put 5 pieces together, so there should be 5 pieces left. And every time we look, instead of 5, now those 5 pieces are 10 pieces. Then those 10 pieces are 20 pieces. Those 30 pieces are 40, 50. It's like every time you look back, you put one piece of the puzzle in to try and get this country somewhat together, and they triple and double and quadruple divide what's left of. So you can't even put pieces together to make the pieces of the puzzle. And if I just don't anymore, I can't see that it's coincidence. It can't be coincidence anymore.
So,
there's some real evil things happening in this country, and so many are just, they're taking the bait and falling, it's like this.
I got a question.
All the way down.
I got a question. So we're all aware that Hillary Clinton lost her appeals trial, right?
Right.
Which is meaningless so far, but go on.
Yeah.
It's meaningless so far, but hypothetically, it goes all the way, and she is found guilty of treason. What are the punishments for treason?
It's the only hangable offense in the Constitution.
It is hangable, but I believe that the two...
Or punishable by death, my bad.
Yeah, the two punishments for treason can be life or death. You can have life imprisonment or death.
Right.
It's one of the only federal laws that it can still be done with death.
It's the only one in the Constitution.
Right. So, if she's found guilty do you think that
No.
the system would do it?
No, they'd
Oh,
give her life
no.
in prison.
Oh,
Yeah.
not even. It probably. Oh, How many? Do you want to start taking bets on how many appeals?
Oh, well,
But-
she'll probably die
but here's
before
my-
the
but here's
appeals
my
ever
question.
end.
Oh, they'll bury that. That's even. You're even assuming the trial will be over before she's dead.
But here's my question: if they found her guilty of treason, and they said, you know what, we're just going to have her sit the rest of her life out in some minimum security federal prison, nice little, room with a view and everything else. Would it or does it fall on the American people to, handle said treason? Or do we as the American
So
people,
because that's anarchy at that point.
but at what point, if the federal government fails the people, when do the people decide that the federal
No, but
government
it's punishable by death. It's not an automatic death sentence.
Right.
What if what happens if they find her guilty but then decide to just waive it?
Oh, don't be. Well, and now see, here's the only thing I'm not positive about, and somebody else, maybe John Michaels knows. I don't know because I'm not even sure it's in there. If you can be, I'm assuming the president can pardon someone found guilty of treason.
I would assume so.
So what's the worst case scenario? She goes to prison for 8 years, maybe in Club Fed, and then the next Democratic president on his way out pardons her.
Right.
I mean, that's almost written already.
Have we all been paying attention? I'm just trying to bring up other topics.
Go ahead.
Have we all paid attention to the confidant of Jeffrey Epstein who didn't kill himself?
You mean and that she won't kill herself?
Accidentally, yeah.
Accidentally being, sent to ICU on the 11th of this month for COVID. But just today they announced she had COVID.
Nah.
They're really going to try and use COVID to kill her?
There's a Facebook post where they sent her to the ICU for COVID, but they didn't do it until the 11th of this month.
So they accidentally released the news before the news was actually the news on the day.
Maybe.
Oops.
I'm just saying, this is all I'm saying. If that shit's legit, and on the 11th, some news article comes out where she's in ICU, COVID got her in the back of the head.
Well, if she died on The Simpsons, then it's obvious.
Well, shit. I haven't watched The Simpsons in a while, so.
Damn, man, there's like 28 episodes I gotta go through.
I don't got that kind of time.
I mean, at some point, doesn't somebody have to live, or doesn't it get a little like, hold on a minute.
But wait, that's already has happened. Look at the amount of people that have died around the Clintons already, and some people have gone, wait a minute, and everybody goes, nah, you're just some crazy MFer living in a basement. So you're just some conspiracy theorist. We don't care, but yet people still keep mysteriously shooting themselves in the back of the head while jogging. And oops.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, give me 1 minute. I gotta check on something.
Okay.
Uh-oh. No, all I want to know is where's the freaking emergency stop? When can I get off this bullshit ride? Because I mean,
it is a crappy carnival ride at a block party, isn't it?
Oh my god, this is the most insane funhouse I've ever seen. Like, if we could make this a funhouse, we could take it to every freaking carnival on the planet, and it would be never walk through because it is insane.
I don't even think it's the funhouse at the carnival. I think it's the Gravitron. If you're old enough and remember the Gravitron, Holy F nuggets. Did that thing suck, but it was still glorious even after you puked to jump back on it again.
I mean, with the Gravitron, you knew what you were in for with the Gravitron.
Well, no, it depends on who was running it. Because sometimes you went for a couple of minutes and you were done. Sometimes the dude in the middle of the Gravitron would get up, stand on the bar that ran in the middle around him, and be standing like this on the bar as you're spinning around in circles. He's spinning around in circles, and he's out of the chair effing around. You're in there for like 10 minutes, so you puke because you've been spinning for 10 minutes straight.
Yeah, I think I did it once. I did it once. But you're right. That's how it feels. The Gravitron is about where I feel right about now.
Right.
About all this.
But you cannot watch the news. You cannot look at Facebook, Instagram, any type of social media.
No, I can't stand it anymore. You know what? And maybe that's maybe that's all on purpose too. I mean, if they get people like us who try our best to be somewhat informed, maybe not necessarily on this show all the time. We're definitely not a news show. We're news-ish at times.
I'll tell you what we see on Facebook.
but it's, I mean, it's like, man, you don't even want to watch. Every time you turn on the news, it really makes me want to go through my house and just start shooting things. I mean, it really does.
I don't know if I get that far.
Starting with
the worst part about it is like, we went out this weekend. We went camping this weekend.
Cool.
It wasn't anything. If all I followed was the news, and that's the only thing I focused on, going camping and being around all these other people from all over the state, it shouldn't have been like it was. I mean, you're randomly talking to people.
Right.
We was at the clubhouse. Some dude, some family walked in and just randomly started talking. Like, we just opened up a conversation. It wasn't, oh, you're a big rednecky person. I'm going to bitch at you about what's happening in urban Columbus. It's a conversation.
Right.
What brought you out? What are you guys doing? Why are you out here?
Well, that's a scary conversation too, in the fact that, you know how many people I run into that seem to not know there's anything going on?
Oh yeah, lots.
Again, had a conversation.
Like there's nothing going on.
Had a conversation.
But here's the thing though. For me, I have this conversation every Sunday with you guys. I have this conversation because people on Facebook like to seek people out and have this conversation or argue about it. So when I go camping, I really don't want to have this conversation. You know what? When I went camping 4 or 5 weeks ago with friends, just to go camping, right? What was it? Whatever the little holiday was, Memorial Day or whatever. Yeah. So I went camping that weekend, and it was amazing. All kinds of people walking up. They didn't want to fight because I had stickers about carrying guns on the back of my truck. They wanted to bullshit and talk. They just wanted to have a good time and hang out. And it wasn't like how the media is making it out, like everybody wants to fight with you if you're this side or you're that side or whatever. Now, Facebook makes it think that way too, because a lot of people just want to argue with you because it's Facebook. But is that all part of it too? Okay, that helicopter's awfully low.
All right.
Oh
now.
boy, dude! Wait, where are they at? I don't know where the button is. There it is. Okay.
I think it'll land in my backyard. If the power goes, send help. But anyways, oh damn, dude. Dude, he couldn't have been more than 100 yards above my house.
Picture was perfect, Jeremy. Picture was perfect.
Wow. All right, then.
Was it a black helicopter?
No. It wasn't a news, though. It looked like probably a private one. But Nevertheless, he didn't stop, so we're good. Um,
Thank goodness.
But is that the point of everything maybe going on? Maybe is it to just trying to wear us down? Even those who are you know, the most vigilant, I guess, is not the perfect word, but are they just trying to beat us down so that we get to the point where we just stop caring and stop talking about it?
I
honestly believe yes.
I feel like yes, because, and I'll even give why. This weekend, I stepped back away from media, social media, the news, everything. Even though I basically hung out at home all weekend, I did no media whatsoever. I stayed away from all, hence why I didn't know what was going on yesterday. All I knew about was fireworks that was or wasn't happening, because I was thinking about going to watch fireworks, but there wasn't many around because of the canceling and all that crap. But
Right.
I stayed away from it, and I felt really good the past couple of days. I didn't feel drained. I didn't feel drugged down and just beat. And then, I start on the internet again sometime today, and it was like, oh crap, I'm swiping through Facebook again, and I'm like, oh, there's a good post, there's 18 more negative posts about these people or this people or who's fighting who, and blah blah blah. And I was just like, it really feels like it's dragging us down, and it's on purpose.
Oh, well, just think about so I don't venture into, and apologize for anybody listening or might listen later that lives there, but I try not to go into Mentor, Ohio.
Why?
Reasons.
Why?
Many reasons.
Aw.
Just because the people that live in Mentor, and it's no offense to them, my uncle lived there for a while, they make me crazy, and I every time I go there, you'll ask my wife, she's like, we're not coming back, because I leave there wanting to punch people. It's just,
you got to explain to the people like Jacob why. Jacob don't know what Mentor is.
Attitude, they have this attitude. It's like, you know who it is, and this is gonna sound horrible, but they're like that cheerleader in high school, and her little clique. That's all of Mentor.
So
Mentor's that girl.
So basically, Mean Girls.
Mean Girl?
Yeah, not only just Mean Girls, but the girl who lives in the house, that's slightly better than yours, but treats you like your trailer park trash.
Oh, okay, that kind of town.
That's cool.
Yeah, and you just get that every time I walk into a store in that town. I just feel like, because I'm usually dressed like this with my stuff, and or my Heartland shirt, or with the flag, and and I always get, and people look at me, and I just want to, like, yes. But so I went there today, and the looks I got, they don't know me, they don't know anything about me, in as much as try and say hi. But is anybody ever seen, was it Animal House, when they walk into the bar? Isn't it an Animal House when they all walk into the black bar and everything just goes?
Yeah.
That's how I walked into Myers in Mentor, and I was probably one of like 10 people out of hundreds that didn't have a mask or wasn't exactly, John. But I mean, I swear to God, people looked at me like, I mean, it took everything I had not to like just sneeze in my hands or something, because I really just wanted to make people run. But I mean, it was like,
see what I'm doing here? See what I'm doing
yeah,
here?
but they don't know anything. They didn't know anything about me, and just not having a mask and probably the stuff I'm wearing, they immediately judged me the minute I walked through the door, and that's got to be. That's got to be a lot of what's going on. People are just judging people without even knowing anything about them.
See what I'm doing here? Maybe if we wait a couple more seconds, a fuck will fall from the sky.
No, there's none left.
My field of fucks is barren.
They're all gone.
Oh, you don't like me? Okay, bye.
But it's this whole, Otis Day, that was it. it was but it's it's people who don't wear masks versus people who wear masks. It's people who stayed at home and people who didn't stay at home. People who thought the lab coat was God and other people who wanted to send her to God. I mean, it's all this. It's like every day we're being bombarded by something to make sure. It's like they don't want us talking to anybody anymore.
Well, and not because Jane's who Jane is to me, but Jane makes a good point.
No, because it was dark and light looking at me the same way. They all the people in Menor, there is no color. There really isn't. I mean, if you live in Menor, you are Mentor. That's your race. It's one of the few places.
Can a city be a race?
Yeah, that one is.
That authorized?
I
think else seems to be a race. So.
I think it's where the pod people all come from.
The pod people.
Okay then.
Pretty sure it's where they all live. There is an egg field somewhere, and they're just popping them out in Menor.
Jane, honey, I've been treated different my whole life.
Yeah, me too.
I was that kid.
But Jane, to your point about what happened yesterday, though, it's Black Panther. Let's call them for what it is. They're the Black Panthers. I mean, that's the no fuck. That's not really. Let's be honest. That's not their name. It's the Black Panthers. They did exactly what anybody else has done with zero incident. No arrest.
But here's the thing, though. She might be making a good point, though, on the fact of, but look at how many people are labeling it as it's something different, and it's not a constitutional right for them to walk down the street with their guns.
Oh, for sure.
Because what is the only difference between that event that you saw versus the event you see other Second Amendment rallies or people walking down the street with guns is?
The whole argument, again, their whole argument was it wasn't what they were doing, it's what they were saying.
Well, but okay, let me put it in different terms. Other than asshole people like the KKK, people that are racist tend to not really go, "Hey, I'm racist, and here's exactly why I'm racist, and I'm gonna explain it to you based off of what I say." A lot of people are low-key racist, where they're like, "Well, it was what they said. It wasn't because they were black." But the only difference in that whole video, other than them, talking about black pride, black whatever, was the fact that they were black, and the white groups, if you watch those videos, they're saying almost the same shit, just about something different. About how they're going to shoot motherfuckers that show up if they come to their town, and...
Well, and I'll give her it's the only thing I did give her, and she was sort of right about. If you came, well, you didn't come to Virginia, but
no.
In Virginia, there was nobody, man, dude. I'm gonna tell you what, there was no color in that event, and there wasn't people at that event going, "We're gonna come and kill you because you're Mexican or black or white or redneck or." So very few Second Amendment rallies that I have been to have they called out a race. Have they called out government and government officials? Yes.
The only thing I saw in that video where he was on his knee chanting into the microphone was that, what to me was not a Second Amendment rally. That to me was a call out of all the white groups that they're opposed against.
Well, and
the rednecks,
partially, I would say I think it was both. I think it was both. I think the march itself was a Black Pride, Black Power, Second Amendment event, I would say.
Okay. But the minute you're calling people out and saying that you show up, we're gonna kill you.
Well, then that because the racist groups have all said if they show up in my town or they show up on my turf, I'm gonna shoot them. And so they went to Stone Mountain. That was their turf.
But
Right.
but to line that up with the Second Amendment rally.
Argue, but even if they whatever they said, regardless of what they said and did, the fact of the matter is that their actual actions, were constitutional.
Mm-hmm.
True.
That anybody who argues that is an idiot. Now, do you want to say, oh, it's hate speech? Okay, well, so's the KKK, and they get permits all the time.
True story.
So you can't use that argument.
Right.
Hate, being a racist and an asshole is still not illegal in this country.
Right. You basically can say what you want as long as it's well. I'm sorry, I can't say that because people have threatened the president's life and have gotten away with it, or made basically threats to the president's life.
Well, yeah. Well, and again, I don't agree with almost anything they said, but the marching and everything else they did, I got zero problems with. I could care less about the color of their skin or their, the fact that they went out and had the balls to do their Second Amendment rally in a city that they knew, let's be honest, it wasn't intentional. They knew it was a very white area. It was done intentional.
Well, they did it because wasn't that I think on one of the things I read, it was one of the birthplaces of the KKK. That's why they went to Stone Mountain.
That's the claim, I don't know if that claim's true or not.
Right.
Can we have
a
Democratic historian let us know?
But
somebody's a Democratic historian. Please let us know where you all invented the KKK.
But it's still, I mean, yeah. Well, again, yeah, you're right, Jason. Again, the things they said may have not been reasonable, but again, doesn't make that unconstitutional. Again, I had no problem with what they did as much as what they said. Now, again, like I told this young lady who was arguing with me, if they now take this march and they decide to march into my backyard with guns saying we're going to kill rednecks, well, now we've got problems.
Right.
Because now you've gone beyond.
But now, Costa, let me ask you a question, because this is going to be one of them that comes up from it. If they march in your backyard, but they don't kick in your door, they're just standing out there screaming and chanting and bullhorning that if you show your face, we're going to fucking kill you. Concept, but they don't start shooting. They're just standing there. Trigger discipline's on point.
If I don't know you and you set foot on my property with a gun, I'm pretty much going to take that as a hostile act.
But there's an entire argument happening about
the laws behind that, though.
The finger and the pistol and not knowing how to carry an AR. And
anybody, if you watch that video, I'm going to be quite honest. They look pretty damn squared away.
That chick had her finger on that trigger to the second knuckle.
Right.
That was probably then, like most media, except now it's our side. That was probably 1 out of 1,000 or how many people were there. That every picture I watched, and I watched the vast majority of the video, every one of them was doing what they were supposed to do, like they read the rule books.
Which rally are we talking about? Are we talking about Ken and Karen, or are we talking about the...
No, the NFAC.
No. I'm talking about Ken and Karen, because the Ken and Karen Polo million
those
mansion. There's a huge argument that those people were peaceful and they were on their property and they had no right to walk out there.
No. They were on a private street, yes. They were not on their. This is the misconception of Ken and Barbie. That was a
private gated community. They own the
community.
streets and they own the sidewalk, so it was not a public sidewalk. They did not have a right to be there, and they did not have a right to be on their porch, which is where they initially started after they kicked in the gate that kept them from entering the community.
The only reason,
and that's all bad. But again, I don't think
the only reason I brought this up was to ask Cosper the question of if they walked into his backyard, like he said, and he decided to take walking in the backyard as a threat.
You know your gun insurance isn't liking what you're saying right now on the internet, right?
110%. They're like, no.
Because Ohio law, until they threaten you or shoot at you.
I would say that if you walk onto my property with a gun and you have no reason to be there, I'd say that's a threat.
What if it's a hunter? Okay, wait. A group of 100 people with guns is not going to be hunters. Anyways.
But even if they're hunters, there is no. So where I'm at, there's no place where you could go. Oh, I accidentally thought I was on public land.
But
that ain't happening here. I mean,
devil's advocate.
Everything here.
Devil's advocate. What you're saying right now is these folks were on a public street calling these people out. If these people would have showed up for whatever reason, would it have been? You get where I'm going?
Well, yeah. I mean, and you're
saying what they did was legal.
If somebody's walking in my yard, I'm gonna be like, armed. I'm gonna be like, hey, what the fuck you doing in my yard? And if they turn and point the gun at me, well, then if I don't get him, Dylan, who's poking out the window, will.
What happens for people like Jeremy?
What about me?
What about him?
Live closer to the city.
Nope.
Well,
I live just about as far out as he does now.
What happens to the people that live close to the city? What happens for the ones that when they decide to take their march off the street and into the buildings, calling people out?
Well, I think
if you're justified because they're not.
John Michael's on here, and I don't know this. So if you live, let's say you live in an apartment building.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say technically you have to buzz to get in. If they come through that buzzed door, is that become now castle doctrine, or is the hallways public?
Hallways aren't public because they're locked.
I wouldn't think so either. So I think if you become an imminent threat, I think you're within your rights.
Right, because it's a part of your domain to get to your main part of your living area. So yeah, I can see.
I would think that's covered. So I mean, Ken and Barbie, and I don't see. Has there been video? Was there video of those people actually on their porch? Because I've never seen that.
No, it was all reports.
No video. It's all pictures.
It's reports. They said prior to the video starting, there were people up on the porch, which caused them to come out their front door to begin with. Okay. They left the porch as the video turns, and they come around the corner.
Well, then if I'm not correct, the minute they leave if you come out with a firearm and they leave the porch, well, you are no longer, the threat is now gone.
Well, if they were on a normal street and a normal sidewalk, correct. But because it's public street that the people in the community pay for, not the city, and the same with the sidewalks, because most closed housings, you help pay for all that with your fees. So technically, the housing, anybody that lives in that housing area owns that area, and it's not a public sidewalk.
I want Jane to come on the show.
Uh-oh.
What was she?
She will be ready and waiting.
Yeah.
Well, I would think.
Now, hold on. Jane, I love you, and you know I love you.
Oh, she's talking about protecting the house. She ain't talking about anything
else. About protecting your house.
But my question is if if these guys were championing BLM and doing this and showed up at your door, this is all war room. This is all hypothetical. This is just thinking before you do something. But if these guys were not saying they're NFSC, but they're BLM, and this is what they're doing, and they saunter down through your front yard and come bounding on your door, and you're ready and willing, is it justified or unjustified?
Well, as John Michaels said, if it's,
I'm asking for Jane, because we had Jane on here a couple of weeks ago. As
well, yeah, but you're
I'm
it's a baited question though.
If they're threatening life, then it's justified.
I don't think Jane would give a crap if they were white, green, black, or purple. If they were trying to kick in her door, I'm guessing it's probably going to be the last time
she answered your question, and she answered it promptly. Ooh.
Well, I've got good body armor. Eat it.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think it's a relevant question. I mean, there's
so many situations behind it that you would have to really be careful of because of you technically, if they're beating on your car, you can't shoot them for beating your car. You can't protect property with deadly force. Now, if you're not in the car in your driveway, now if you're in it, it's a different story. If it's in your driveway and they're out there beating in your windows and beating on your car, you can't shoot them just because they're beating on your car. Now,
what about wounding them with some other device?
No, because again, that's bodily harm.
I know Palmer saying, "Can I tase them?"
Yes, you can tase them as long as if it's a group like you're saying.
Wait a minute.
You might get one or two.
Okay, so now I'm going to really throw this off just before we go off the air. So what if they're beating on your car, you go out and tase them, they take that as a threat of aggression, and they shoot you? Who's liable?
You were at that point because you started the aggression.
Yeah, I thought so.
Oh,
you at no point can be aggressive in the matter. If you come out with a taser and they fear for their life, they can shoot you. Just like if somebody comes at you with a taser. If they make it sound like that they're going to do anything other than tase you, guess what? You can shoot them.
So we're back to hiding the bodies.
Nah, because all you gotta do is, if smart, you have concealed carry insurance. You say you feared for your life. You call the 800 number and you wait for the lawyer to show up.
Heavily in a slingshot and a pile of rocks.
Mm. There's some pretty cool slingshots out there too.
Dylan's got one heck of a BB gun.
Well, but that has the word gun in it, and that could technically still be, yeah. Let's take the gray area out of gun altogether, and let's make it a slingshot.
But it wouldn't kill him. It probably wouldn't kill him. It
hurt like a motherfucker. Okay, anyways.
It'll hurt for a minute. It'll take an eye out.
I know. Like you said, we went completely off track.
Right.
But I think back to everything. I just think it's just crazy how everything and back to what Jane said, man, it's not even about black and white anymore. I mean, we're all looking at each other stupid. Right. Even black groups are looking at other black groups. Patriot groups are looking at other. I mean, we're all getting so. It's almost like every time we come back Sunday, the country's more divided.
Right. And we're talking about the different things every Sunday too. And Troy, rock salt. It's still a reason if you point a gun at somebody, they could shoot you back, even because they won't know it's rock salt. Just kind of a heads up. But
so what if it was ice and it melted before the cops got there?
If you pointed a gun and they have a gun and they shoot you. Anywho, oh god, I'm not even gonna pull the can of worms up. So I don't even know where we want to go next weekend. We'll probably be on some other separating topic of separating.
Give it a week. Something completely different happened. Don't forget, COVID's coming back, kids, so we'll have that to talk about.
Well, I know my county's one of the biggest counties right now. They're talking about, just like Columbus and Cleveland did, mandating masks everywhere publicly outside of your home and your car, with fines just like Cleveland did. Cleveland's fining people if you get caught on the street without masks. And it's a, $150 fine, and then if it's multiple times, it's $300 fines.
What?
And, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you didn't know?
gotta-
I
you
thought
gotta
you
catch
knew.
up
I
on
would have
the-
brought
Well,
this
no,
up
I
for
knew
the
about
show.
I did. Yeah, well,
It's
yeah,
not-
I did.
it's not the
I made a
governor.
post. I'm not. I just so anybody that's watching, the governor or any of you, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to put businesses out of business, because I'm going to tell you right now, I won't spend a dime in Cleveland. I won't spend a dime in Columbus. I won't spend a dime in Cincinnati or any other city, or Dayton that does one of these stupid things. I'm not going to spend a dime in your fucking city. So I hope it, you know what? I hope it does burn to the ground, because
And-
you know
and
what? There ain't nothing there I want.
It's not even cities, it's the counties that are doing
It's
it.
the county.
So, like Trumbull County, like the whole county I'm in. But luckily, I
It's-
live
it's
on the
not
very
It's
south.
not the governor doing it.
No, it's the
the
county.
mayors of the cities and the townships, and they're just like, oh no, we're gonna find.
They're
Well,
I don't care who it is. I don't care who it
somebody.
is. They're putting them out of business. You know what I did? I stayed in Geauga County this weekend. You know, much like Jeremy. You know, you stayed off. I
Yeah.
stayed off, and you know what I did? We went to several farmers market. I bought nothing but local meat. I bought nothing but local produce. I bought local spices that were made right here in town. Then we went and picked our own blueberries. You know, I did nothing but spend hundreds of dollars on my local businesses in my county.
But did you
So
wear
you
a
what?
mask?
F the rest of the state. That's what we're gonna do.
But did you wear a mask?
Oh.
Nope, because nobody else in my damn county is either.
So this
Well,
weekend,
the biggest problem I have out of all of it is the CDC's been caught on hot mic saying that everybody's been infected. The CDC said that the masks don't work for shit at all. Nothing. It's been proven by science that the masks don't help anything. So why 6 months? 5 months? Right? Somewhere
Well,
around there?
so they have proven that it does keep you from spreading if you cough or sneeze. If you keep your 6 feet, it won't go past the 6 feet of that mist that comes out. Because now you're not throwing the whole big particles of liquid when you cough and sneeze. It's just the mist coming out of your mask. And it's keeping you from directing it. Because, you know, people can't cough in their
the only
elbow.
people that should have to wear it are people that show symptoms of being sick.
No, because you don't have to show symptoms to be sick. They say
Oh.
you're sick for a week. You have it for a week prior to showing symptoms.
Does this also pertain to the fact that they said that for months it transferred by touch?
No, I
And then
know,
all
right?
of a sudden they're like, no, it's sorry.
Yeah,
that
just kidding. But yeah, so we'll get down that subject if it has to keep going that way next week, because it's 9:03.
Yeah, actually, that'll probably be a good one. We can talk about all that, because that's if they actually start really, really enforcing that.
What, by next week we'll know, because like I said, Cuyahoga County just did it a couple days before the 4th.
Give it a
And
week. Give it a
Trumbull's
week, the whole
talking
state will
about
be
it.
forced. Give it a week. It'll be the whole state.
Right. Well, no, so just to keep on that, is the state's now not doing it by state anymore because they realized how damaging that could be. They're doing it by county based off of county numbers now.
But the businesses are doing it, because with Columbus's didn't go into effect until Saturday. On Thursday, I was eating lunch at a Subway, and they're putting up signs, mandatory mask.
Well, that's the business taking on that, not
I get
them.
it. But the businesses are shooting themselves in the foot.
Just like Menards. Menards has been doing it and never stopped doing it the entire time. They're still doing it until, even as of, what was it? What day was it? I had to turn around in Menards parking lot. Was it yesterday? I don't remember. I went to go get wood down the street, and the highway was closed. I had to turn around. They still had the signs up saying, whatever. They still require the masks, even though right now it's not required out this way, but probably will be the way it's sounding.
Jeff, just to clear it up about the swab, it goes down, not up. Just to clear that up, because I've had the same probes for when I Yeah, well, yes, John Michaels, you're correct about that. But no, what it does is it goes to where your nose and throat meet. That's what the probe is for.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's where the moist meets the air in the back of your throat. That's what it's for.
And now that you made half the people watching cringe with the word moist.
Yeah, but that's why those probes they stick doesn't go up. It goes to the back of your throat.
Trust me, you get this kind of number if it went up.
Yeah. Anyways, so it's 9:05.
We'll talk about all that fun stuff next week. Oh, sorry, I think I just spit a little. You might have COVID now.
Oh well.
My elbow.
So thanks everybody for watching. Everybody that watched, everybody that shared, that liked the video, that commented, everybody. Thank you too for your time as usual. The moister, oh boy. We'll be online again next week, 8 p.m. We might talk about the COVID. Who knows what we'll be talking about next week, because it'll be something else to make us all not want to talk to each other.
17 of you watching right now, you guys go out and do something, make us want to talk about it.
Hey, yeah. And if you have any ideas of what you want us to talk about, you can always email us at heartlanddefendersmedia@gmail.com, or hit us up on Facebook, because the three of us on Facebook are the ones that normally answer the messages. So on that note, we'll see you guys next weekend, Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a good week. Be safe. Enjoy your week. Everyone, we're out.
Later.